Hi, my name's Russell Stannard. This is teachertrainingvideos.com, and this is one of my really quick videos where I try to highlight a technology and show you why it's so relevant to teachers and students. Now, you might have seen this technology actually on the television because the founder has been on the TV several times recently. Quizlet has become an incredibly popular technology, both for a PC, but also works on an iPad or on a tablet or even on a smartphone. It's a revision tool for vocabulary. There's all sorts of languages available: Polish, French, Chinese, Spanish, German, Dutch. I've looked through and there's all sorts of languages available, and it basically allows you to take lists of vocabulary that have already been created and then make games and activities with those lists to practice your vocabulary. And of course you can also make your own lists. It's relevant both to teachers because you can produce lists or create activities around lists that have already been produced, and of course it's relevant to students because they can practice vocabulary. Sit back, just a couple of minutes. I promise I'm going to take you through the basics of Quizlet and why it's such a useful tool. Just very quickly, any videos that you're watching, don't forget you can click here to watch the videos full screen. So you may be watching this video at the moment in small scale on the screen. If you want to make it full screen, please click here. Right, let's have a quick look at Edmodel then and what we can do with it. Okay, so I've signed into Quizlet using my Gmail account. And you might be saying to yourself, well, what is Quizlet? Well, Quizlet is a huge, great database of flashcards. And the great thing is because so many teachers have now used Quizlet, and there are so many millions of flashcards already produced to practice languages that you really don't need to produce your own. You can actually grab flashcards that other people have used and then use those for your own study. Let me give you an example. I'm going to write the word here English because I want to learn English, and I'm going to write animals. So I just write the word in the search because I'm looking for flashcards that are for studying English animal words, and I can see straight away that there are more than 500 sets, and I can kind of roll over now and have a quick look at what these sets do. So some of them, for example, may be translations from, in this case, from German to English. Here we've got, it looks like just the word and the picture, so that looks like a lower level. Here we've got Spanish to English. I might use these. If we look down, you'll see that there will literally be hundreds and hundreds of sets of flashcards that I could use. Okay, I'm going to go for these ones here. That looks fairly easy. Let's imagine that I just want to learn some basic vocabulary in English, and I want to work with the picture and the words. Sometimes you might want to work with the picture and the translation or definitions, etc. That's really up to you. You can look through all the different, literally hundreds of sets of flashcards that other teachers have already produced, and you can see them all here, absolutely loads of them, and then choose the ones you want. This one, for example, has got 61 terms. That might be even too many, but let's go back to the one that we were looking at earlier on. Let's say for this one here, looks pretty simple, just 27 items, so I'm going to click on those. So immediately it brings up those words for me. Now maybe I don't want to study all 27 words. Maybe I just want to start with bird and cat and dog and horse and cow and pig and chicken and duck, and let's just say that. Now I've selected the vocabulary flashcards that I want to study, and now I actually want to start working with them. So first thing I'm going to do is just click on 8 words because I'm just going to work with those, and now I can start to work through all these different activities with these 8 flashcards that I've selected. So let's start with the first activity, which is a pretty simple activity. It's just simply just for me to kind of learn the word. So write bird and then see what the picture is. Now if I want to, I can just click and flip the card to see, okay, that's a bird. Right, next one, cat. Okay, that's a cat. Right, next one, okay, that's a dog. And slowly, obviously, I can go back if I want to think, right, what's a cat in English or what's bird in English, etc. Work through the vocabulary until I'm familiar with it. I can also do some changes here if I want to. Okay, so you can shuffle them differently, you can turn the audio on and off, etc. Now once I'm ready, I can start with a series of exercises. So that's just basically the learn stage, when you're learning the vocabulary. Now I'm going to start to actually so let's now start to actually do something with it. So I'm going to click on this one here. So now I presume I've got to write the word. So I'm going to write pigs, and it should have put it in singular. Okay, so override that because I was right. Next one, cat. Again, okay. Next one, dog. And I simply write the words in, etc., etc. Now I move to the next activity. This one's speller. So here I'm going to actually hear the words, and I've got to write it. So then I write the word in, and hopefully I'll get it right. And then next one, and I write it. Okay, now I'm going to come to a test activity. Once I've done that, I can move on to a test. Now this can be really useful for a teacher, because you could select the type of test you want to do. Let's say you only want to do true or false. So you could select that, work with the photos, and create a new test. So this is only going to be true or false. So I have to say, is that a cow? And I'm going to say false. And I'm going to say, is that a pig? And I'm going to say true. I'm going to say, is that a horse? And I'm going to say true, etc. Is that a chicken? And I'm going to say true. Is that a cat? Etc., etc. And of course I can then check my answers once I've finished by clicking on this button here. Obviously I didn't do all of them, but I can sort of go through and see whether or not I got it wrong or right. Okay, now one of the nice things about this is that you can print these tests out, so this can be really useful for teacher. After the test, we then got this scatter activity. So with scatter, basically what you're going to see is the picture and the word. So the idea is that you take the word and you grab it and you select it and move it across to complete the so basically, obviously it's just a very simple activity, and there it's done, and it tells me. Now I come to the last one, which is race, and this is where the word comes across the screen and I basically have to write the word in. And as long as I write the word in, okay, great, in terms of sort of writing, etc. Obviously. Now the crazy thing is that I didn't, and I'll just pause that, I didn't have to do anything. I simply worked with a set of cards that I selected from the many thousands of cards that are already available, and as a student then I started to practice with them. And that's the reason why Quizlet is such a useful tool, because you can grab all the cards that have already been produced by other people and then practice and do a whole series of activities. Now Quizlet does tons more. You can create your own cards, you can create cards and then send them to certain groups and all sorts of things, but that is the basics of what Quizlet is, and hopefully I've just highlighted why it can be such a useful technology, and it's free, and that's one of the wonderful things about it. If you decide you want to know more about how Quizlet works, come to teachertrainingvideos.com. There's a newsletter that you can sign up to if you'd like to keep up with the new videos that I make as I come across new technologies or produce more videos to train you up on using certain technologies. But you don't have to sign up to the newsletter. You can close the window down. In this particular case, the section you want to go to is language learning content sites. Click on there and you'll find that there are two sets of videos for Quizlet. Now at the moment the advanced one's at the top of the screen, so advanced features in Quizlet, but if you scroll down you'll also see that there's how to use Quizlet. That's a great starting point. You can click on those videos and it will open up and start to play a video immediately that will take you through Quizlet in a lot more detail than I've just done then. Don't forget, you can click here if you want to watch that video at full screen, because it's much better and clearer to watch it at full screen. Hopefully I've convinced you why Quizlet is a really interesting technology. I've only showed you a little bit in this video, but hopefully it will give you an idea why it can be so useful for students, but also useful for teachers, because you can make your own vocabulary lists so that your students can practice and work with the vocabulary that you suggest. Thank you very much.